India has seen a spurt of subcompact SUVs being launched in the subcontinent, and we have the latest amongst the lot, the Hyundai Venue, and we will be pitting the Venue against two indigenous homegrown automotive manufacturers. Their offerings are the Tata Nexon and the Mahindra XUV300. Now for this comparison review, we have lined up petrol engines mated to a 6-speed manual transmission in each of the variants. Continue and watch as we bring you this comparison review between the Hyundai Venue, the XUV300 and the Tata Nexon. But hang on, before we get into the comparison, do like this video, share it with your friends, and if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the Autotech Review channel for all the latest action from the automotive industry. If you haven't hit that bell icon, do so now and stay updated with all the activities and happenings of the Autotech Review channel. So for the comparison review between these three vehicles, we will be giving you some exclusive details on the acceleration and the brake timings, the interior dimensions, that is the headroom for front and rear passengers as well as the shoulder room for front and rear passengers. We will also be telling you the AC performance of each vehicle. So we measure the air conditioning performance down from the vehicle standing in the sun for a little while, and we then test the ACs in each vehicle simultaneously for about 10 minutes to see what are the cooling temperatures offered in each vehicle. And we have been doing this air conditioning test for some time on a majority of the vehicles that come to us for a comparison review. You can also find copies of this in our monthly magazine. So before we begin giving you those details, let's talk a little bit about the drive and the feel of three of these vehicles. The Hyundai Venue, which I am in right now, being the newest of all three. The Tata Nexon was probably the first amongst the three, and the XUV300 is also been launched only this year in 2019. So it is relatively fresh and of course comes off the Tivoli platform. The Hyundai Venue is on a brand new platform according to Hyundai sources. This platform was designed for a subcompact SUV. It's not really a modified hatchback platform, and very interesting is the way they have engineered the Hyundai Venue. Speaking a little bit about the engineering, the build quality on three vehicles is pretty good. All three are pretty rugged and can definitely handle those bumpy and pothole filled roads that you will encounter in India. The Hyundai Venue felt like the most fun to drive vehicle, and that's also probably because it has the most powerful engine. Ironically, it also has the smallest engine. This is a turbocharged 1-liter GDI petrol engine inside the Hyundai Venue. Produces roughly about 118 bhp, which is pretty good. The XUV300 on the other hand produces 110 bhp, and the Tata Nexon produces 108.5. So they all are above that triple digit mark, and the Hyundai Venue is, according to us, the most peppy and fun to drive. The steering is really precise. We like the way it handles on road, the way it takes inputs. That said, the XUV300 has that advantage where you can change the steering feel. So if you want a lighter steering, you can choose comfort mode. The steering becomes really light, so if you're stuck in really bad traffic, maneuvering around is quite easy, quite simple, doesn't feel cumbersome at all. When you're parking into tight spots, you can really swivel the steering wheel with your finger, and that's how light it is. And if you want a little more feel, a little more feedback in the wheels, then you can also choose sports mode on the XUV300, and that gives it an advantage over all the others. Now speaking a little more about build quality, we felt the Tata Nexon was great in terms of the way it handled the potholes, the way it handles those broken roads. The suspension is really sturdy, and it gobbles up most of those undulations, most of those bumps and jolts really well. The Hyundai Venue and the XUV300 don't get easily rattled. However, we felt that the suspension being on the softer side was, well, not as good as that of the Tata Nexons, which really gobbled up those potholes and give a better feeling. That said, you do get tossed around a little more inside the cabin of the Tata Nexon, and probably are the most comfortable while seated inside the XUV300. Now, the gearbox in all three vehicles are 6-speed manual transmissions that have been mated to the petrol engines. Now, these 6-speed manual transmissions are all reasonably good. However, they definitely are not equal to each other in terms of shift feel, in terms of smoothness, in terms of clutch lightness. There is a big difference between all three. We felt that the shift feel inside the XUV300 and the Hyundai Venue was fantastic. Slotting was great. The throws of the gears were short. The Tata Nexon, it felt a little notchy, and we definitely felt that the transmissions, the gearbox in the XUV300 as well as the Hyundai Venue were far superior to the Tata Nexon's gearbox. When you're accelerating in city traffic, we also felt that the power delivery inside the Hyundai Venue was much better than both the XUV300 and the Tata Nexon. Now, in terms of NVH and noise optimization, the XUV300 definitely surpasses its counterparts, that is the Hyundai Venue and the Tata Nexon. The XUV300 was much more quiet when it was at high speeds, when it was on rough roads, and we definitely felt Mahindra has done a great job with the XUV300. And if that is an important factor for you, well, then the XUV300 is definitely hands down better than both the Venue and the Tata Nexon. Now, when it comes to all-out acceleration, the Hyundai Venue is by far superior to both the Nexon as well as the XUV. Both the XUV and the Tata Nexon do feel a little bulky, a little cumbersome, but the Hyundai Venue feels so light, so nimble, that it's really a treat to just let it rip. Floor the accelerator. You have to switch between the first, second and third gears quickly. However, the third gear onwards, you have a lot more room to accelerate, and of course the gears can really be stretched. On highways, you can really stretch out the gears, and the 5th and 6th gear is where you will get the best fuel efficiency. Speaking a little bit about mileage, according to ARAI figures, the Hyundai Venue has the best mileage on offer amongst the three.
It is interesting to note that all three manufacturers have made use of an inline 3-cylinder layout in their turbocharged petrol motors fitted to these compact SUVs. But where the 1-litre petrol engine on the Hyundai Venue is different from the larger 1.2-litre mils on the Nexon and the XUV300 is the fuel delivery system. While the engines on the Nexon and the XUV300 use multi-point fuel injections, that is MPFI systems, Hyundai has opted to use a gasoline direct injection system, the GDI technology, in the 1-litre unit powering the Hyundai Venue. The primary difference being multi-point injection of the fuel in the intake tract or the cylinder port versus a high pressure direct injection into the cylinder at much higher pressures for better combustion efficiency and lesser emissions. With its 1-litre turbo petrol GDI engine, the Hyundai Venue offers 118 HP at 6000 RPM and roughly 171 Nm of torque from 1500 to 4000 RPM. On the other hand, the Mahindra XUV300 and the Tata Nexon, both with 1.2-litre mils, offer roughly 108 HP at 5000 RPM. But while the Tata Nexon's motor delivers 170 Nm of torque between 1750 to 4000 rpm, the 1.2-litre unit on the Mahindra XUV300 offers 200 Nm between 2000 to 3500 rpm. The GDI engine in the Hyundai Venue produces the most power out of the three motors. However, the 1.2-litre turbo petrol engine on the Mahindra XUV300 boasts of the highest torque figures. In the 0 to 100 km acceleration test, the Hyundai Venue was the quickest, which accelerated to reach the triple-digit mark in 11.93 seconds. On the other hand, both the Nexon and the XUV300 took over 12 seconds to achieve the 100 km per hour mark. The Nexon recorded a time of 12.64 seconds, while the XUV300 was able to accelerate to 100 kmph fractionally quicker at 12.47 seconds. The Mahindra XUV300 is the quickest off the line and touches the 10 kmph mark in just 0.67 seconds, followed by the Venue and then the Nexon. But the Hyundai Venue is quicker to 60 kmph than the Nexon and the XUV300. While the Venue took 5.11 seconds to attain 60 km per hour, the Nexon took 6.03 seconds and the XUV recorded a time of 5.57 seconds. During these tests, we also evaluated the braking performance of all three compact SUVs. It is interesting to note that while the XUV300 is quicker to bring speeds down from 100 to 50 kmph, the Hyundai Venue was quickest to stop from 100 kmph, recording a time of 4.36 seconds. The Venue was followed by the XUV300 at 4.60 seconds and the Tata Nexon at 4.61 seconds. While accelerating on all three subcompact SUVs was smooth, we appreciated the crisp gear shifts in the Venue and the XUV300. In the Tata Nexon, we found the suspension to be more adept at handling broken roads and potholes than the other two contenders. The steering on the Venue was light and zippy. However, the XUV300 with its unique steering mode system was better than the rest in terms of drivability and handling. In our performance evaluation, the Hyundai Venue came out on top. With its GDI technology, it also proved to be a little more fun to drive than the other two contenders. In this comparison review, we also tested the air conditioning performance of all three compact SUVs. Both the Hyundai Venue and the Tata Nexon come with rear air conditioning vents, while the XUV300 misses out on this feature. All three vehicles were left under the sun for 30 minutes, after which we measured the surface temperatures in 4 seating zones of the cabin. The highest average surface temperature was recorded in the Hyundai Venue, standing at 53.3 degrees Celsius, followed by the Mahindra XUV at 51.15 degrees Celsius, and then the Tata Nexon at 49.55 degrees Celsius. Within 2 minutes of the air conditioning running at its optimal capacity, the average surface temperatures in the seating zones of each cabin fell to 41 degrees Celsius. We recorded the lowest average in the Mahindra XUV300 that was noted at 41.12 degrees Celsius, followed by the Tata Nexon at 41.42 degrees Celsius. However, within 4 minutes of this test, we noted that the Hyundai Venue was performing better than the Tata Nexon, but the Mahindra XUV was still comparatively better than both. By the time we concluded this test at the 10th minute, we noted that the Mahindra XUV300 had the lowest average surface temperatures in the 4 seating zones of the cabin. Average surface temperatures in the seating zones recorded in the Tata Nexon stood at 31.37 degrees Celsius, while in the Hyundai Venue these were recorded at 27.95 degrees Celsius, and marginally better than the Venue was the XUV300's performance at 27.22 degrees Celsius. However, this is not indicative. Once the test had concluded, we noted a difference of nearly 3 to 4 degrees in the front seating zones of the Mahindra XUV300 in contrast to the Hyundai Venue. We can safely conclude this test with the XUV300 coming out on top. If the XUV300 also offered rear air conditioning vents, it would be a sure shot winner. All three subcompact SUVs have a lot to offer to its customers, but each carry their own unique traits that make them special. In terms of features, Hyundai, Tata and Mahindra have loaded up all their offerings with adequate tech to keep users connected and comfortable. But Hyundai has gone above and beyond with features such as remote engine start-stop, remote air conditioning and even remote engine immobilization in case of a theft. We also measured the headroom and shoulder room in all three cabins and found that the XUV300 offered the most headroom for front seat occupants, while the Hyundai Venue offered the most headroom for rear seat occupants. The Tata Nexon offered the most shoulder room in front as well as the rear seats.
Well, that's it from our side, ladies and gentlemen. That was the comparison of the Hyundai Venue, the Tata Nexon and the XUV300. According to us, the XUV300 and the Hyundai Venue are great offerings. The Tata Nexon is a value for money offering. However, for us, the choice will be the Hyundai Venue, simply because of its innovative features, fun to drive nature and the peppy motor that is being offered on the Hyundai Venue, all at a very lucrative price point. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. It won't take much time, so share it with your friends. And of course, if you haven't done it yet, do subscribe to the Autotech Review channel. Press that bell icon to stay updated with all the latest happenings in the automotive industry from Autotech Review. Until the next time, see you later.